I can still hear the sound it made. Not a loud sound, not what you'd expect. A dull pop, like stepping on wet cardboard. He looked at me like I'd taken something from him that he couldn't name yet. He was right. I took 43 years from that man, over $200. And I've been hearing that sound for 52 years. My name is Clarence Mitchell. Folks called me Shorty on account of, well, I'm 5'4" on a good day. Less now. Gravity ain't kind to a 91-year-old man. I've been in the Tennessee state system since August 14th, 1974. 52 years. I was 39 when they brought me in. Had all my teeth, had steady hands. Look at these. These used to be the fastest fingers on Beale Street. Used to run up and down a fretboard like water on a hot skillet. Now I can't button my own shirt most mornings. I grew up on Beale Street. Well, not on Beale. About 6 blocks south in Orange Mound. But Beale was where I lived, if you know what I mean. That's where the music was. My daddy played harmonica. Not professional. He drove a bread truck for Sunbeam. But Friday nights, Saturday nights, he'd sit on the porch with a Popst and that Honer Marine band, and he'd play until my mama told him the neighbors was complaining. He'd say, "Ruthie, the neighbors is listening. There's a difference." He taught me guitar when I was... No, that ain't right. He didn't teach me nothing. He put a guitar in my hands when I was 11, and I taught myself. Watched his fingers. Watched how the men on Beale held the neck, how they bent the strings. I'd sit on a milk crate outside King's Palace and just watch. Hours. Somebody'd throw me a nickel and I'd buy a Coca-Cola and keep watching. By the time I was 19, I was playing 3 nights a week at a place called Silk's, little honky-tonk off Lamar Avenue. $15 a night plus tips. Wasn't much, but in 1953, for a colored boy who couldn't read past 6th grade, that was something. There's a feeling you get when you're playing and the room goes quiet. Not silent quiet. Listening quiet. The kind of quiet where people stop rattling their glasses and the bartender leans forward and even the drunk in the corner closes his eyes. That quiet. I lived for that quiet. That was the only time in my life I felt like I mattered. I played Beale Street for 11 years. Met Muddy Waters once. Well, met ain't the right word. I was setting up my amp at a place called Mitchell's Hotel Lounge. No relation. And this big man walks in and says, "Boy, you got the tone." Just that. "You got the tone." And walked out. I lived on that sentence for 20 years. I had a wife too, Dorothy, Dot. She worked the coat check at the Peabody Hotel. I'd pick her up after my set and we'd drive home in my '62 Impala with the windows down, and I'd have my guitar case in the back seat and she'd have her shoes off and her feet on the dashboard, and we didn't say much because we didn't need to. I had a daughter, Lorraine, born 1961. She had my hands, long fingers, even as a baby. I used to hold her little hand up next to mine and think, she's gonna play. She's gonna be something. But there was the other thing. The thing I don't like talking about, but I reckon I got to. I gambled. Cards, mostly. Some dice. I wasn't a degenerate about it, but I wasn't smart about it neither. I'd win $80 on a Friday and lose $120 by Sunday and tell Dorothy I gave it to the church, and she believed me, or she pretended to. Same thing, I guess. That's where Delroy comes in. You know, there's a moment in every man's life when the music stops. Not the music on the stage, the music inside. Mine stopped on a Saturday night, July 13th, 1974. I remember because it was hot. Memphis hot. The kind of hot where the air sits on you like a wet towel and don't move. Delroy Hines. He owed me $200 from a card game 3 weeks before that night. Now, $200 in 1974. I was fixing to lose the apartment. Dot had already said if the rent was late one more time, she was taking Lorraine to her mama's house in Covington. So that money wasn't just money. It was my family staying under one roof. I found Delroy at a place called Ray's on the corner of 3rd and Vance. Back room, dice game going. He was winning too. I could hear him laughing from the front door. That laugh, like everything in the world was funny except the money he owed me. I walked up to him and I said, "Delroy, I need that $200. Calm. I was calm. He looked up at me, looked me right in the eye, and he said, I remember his exact words. He said, "Shorty, I ain't got your money. And even if I did, what you gonna do about it?" And the men around that table laughed. Now, I need you to understand something. I was 5'4". I was 140 pounds with my boots on. My whole life, people looked down at me. My whole life, I took it. I took it because I had the guitar. You can look down on me all you want, put me on a stage and I'm 10 feet tall. The music made me big, but I wasn't on a stage. I was in a back room on 3rd and Vance, and 6 men were laughing at me, and the rent was due Tuesday. There was a knife on the table, folding knife. Wasn't mine, wasn't his, it was just there. Somebody had been cutting limes for drinks. I picked it up, I didn't think. That's the God's honest truth, sir. I didn't decide nothing. My hand picked up that knife the way my hand used to pick up a guitar pick, automatic, like muscle memory, but for the worst thing you'll ever do. One cut, across the left side, under the ribs. He made a sound, not a scream, more like a grunt, surprised, like somebody'd told him something he didn't expect. He grabbed his side. The room went quiet. Not listening quiet, not the kind I loved on stage, the other kind. I stood there. The knife was still in my hand. I could feel the handle, warm, sticky. The blood was darker than you'd think, not bright red like in the movies, dark, almost black in that light. Somebody said, "Shorty, what the hell did you do?" And I looked at my hand, and I looked at Delroy, and I dropped the knife. It hit the floor and made a sound like a fork falling off a table. Small sound, small knife, small man. Delroy walked himself to the hospital. I'm not making that up. He got up, held his side, and walked out the door. Walked 4 blocks to the Methodist Hospital on Union Avenue. He told the nurse he fell on something. Didn't even give my name. He died 3 days later. Infection. The blade nicked something inside that nobody caught until it was too late. 3 inches of steel, 3 days of dying, $200 on a dice table. I wasn't even arrested that night. I went home. I put my guitar on its stand. I sat on the bed next to Dorothy. She was asleep. Lorraine was asleep in the next room. And I sat there in the dark with blood on my shirt that I couldn't see, but I could smell. Metallic, like pennies left in the rain. I sat there until the sun came up, and I didn't move. That was 52 years ago. 52 years. You know what 52 years is? It's 18,993 mornings waking up in the same cell. I counted. When you got nothing else, you count things. Dorothy left in 1976. Didn't blame her. I was already 2 years in and she was 33 with a 15-year-old daughter and a husband doing 30 to life. She wrote me a letter, 6 pages. I still have it. The ink's faded, but I don't need to read it no more. I got it memorized. She said she loved me, but she couldn't raise Lorraine inside a visiting room. She said Lorraine needed a real life, and she was right. Dot remarried in 1979, a man named Curtis. Worked at the FedEx hub. Good man from what I heard. He raised my daughter. Taught her to drive, walked her down the aisle. Curtis walked my daughter down the aisle. You hear that? Another man's hand on my daughter's arm. Another man's name she calls when she needs help moving furniture or fixing a sink. Dorothy died in 2011. Heart attack. I found out from my lawyer 3 days after the funeral. 3 days. Nobody called. Nobody thought to. My mama, Ruthie, she visited every month for the first 8 years. Every single month. Rain, shine, bus broke down, didn't matter. She'd bring cornbread wrapped in tinfoil and they'd take it at the gate because you can't bring food in, but she brought it every time anyway. Every time. She stopped coming in 1982. I thought she was angry at me. Turned out she had a stroke. Couldn't walk right after that. She died in '84. I wasn't there. Lorraine, my baby girl, she visited once when she was 19, sat across from me in the visiting room and looked at me like I was a stranger she'd been told to meet. We talked for 22 minutes. I know because I watched the clock above the door. She said, "I don't know what to say to you." I said, "You don't gotta say nothing, baby. Just sit here." She left after 22 minutes, never came back. She's 65 now. I got grandchildren I ain't never seen. I know their names because a cousin sends a card at Christmas. Deshaun and Michaela. That's all I got. 2 names on a card. And then there's the guitar. You want to know what the worst part is? It ain't the family. I know that sounds terrible. I know that. But you got to understand, I lost my family slow, piece by piece, year by year. You adjust. You learn to carry the weight a little different each time. But the guitar, that was instant. That was like somebody reaching inside my chest and pulling out the thing that made me, me. The night I stabbed Delroy, I put my guitar on its stand, and I never picked it up again. 52 years. I used to dream about playing, real dreams. I could feel the strings under my fingers, feel the neck in my palm, the calluses I used to have, hard as nickels. I'd wake up and look at my hands and they'd be soft. Prisoner's hands, office hands, not a guitar player's hands no more. They got a music program here now, started about 10 years back. Some church group brought guitars. I walked past the room one time and heard a boy, couldn't have been more than 25, playing a shuffle in E sloppy, rushing the turnaround. And I kept walking. People ask me sometimes, the chaplain, the counselor lady, they ask me if I got remorse. Remorse. Sir, I don't got remorse. I got something worse. I got understanding. Remorse is, I'm sorry I did it. I am sorry. Lord knows I'm sorry. But understanding, that's knowing why I did it. And knowing the why don't fix nothing. Don't bring Delroy back. Don't make the $200 appear. Don't undrop that knife. I was a small man who felt small his whole life. And the only time I felt big was on a stage with a guitar. You take away the $200, I still stab him. You know why? Because those men laughed at me. 6 men looking down at a man they called Shorty, laughing. And I couldn't reach for my guitar. So I reached for the next thing my hand could find. That's the thing about violence. It's what happens when a man runs out of music. Delroy Hines was 36 years old. He had a wife named Clarice and a son named Delroy Jr., who was 4 years old when I took his daddy. That boy is 56 now. He probably don't even know my name, but I know his. I've been sober from gambling since August 14th, 1974. 52 years sober from the thing that killed a man. Ain't that something? 52 years clean because I lost the one bet that mattered. You ever hold something so tight you break it? That's what I did. I held on to my pride so tight I broke a man's life. Broke my own. Broke Dot's. Broke Lorraine's. I'm 91. The oldest man in this facility. The doctor says my kidneys is going. My eyes ain't what they was. I reckon I got, I don't know, a year, maybe 2, and I'll spend every one of them in here, listening to silence where music used to be. You know what I'd give to play one more song? Not for a crowd, not for the quiet I used to chase on Beale Street, just for me, in a room, alone, just to remember what my hands were made for. Before I taught them something else, 3 inches of steel, 1 second of stupidity, 52 years of silence. I used to make music. Now I just make time.